been in somewhat similar situation. I figured that at least I can go, best I could do is at least go look at it and see if I could help them, because I mean, I don't want to just leave them hanging dry. And I figured that we have enough people around that we could probably pull something together. So that was kind of how it started.
Treat, man, the whole operation. It's insane that he was able to have the mentality, I guess, to keep trying to get it out, because there were so many people that didn't think we'd be able to get it out. Between then and when we actually recovered it, it had dumped like a foot of snow. So when we first got there, Luke and I we ran into Tacoma and we were like kind of looking for the spot. I think Daniel was in the truck behind us, and we were kind of like leading the pack. And what we were doing, we were going over the path that like the marks that shoved his truck off the road, and we're like driving over it, and we're like, I can't believe it's farther. Like, how is everyone gonna get past this spot? And then we look down and we're like, the truck is right there. We're literally like riding on top of the tracks that sent the truck down the hill. I don't know, I was like, I don't want to like ditch Luke, but at the same time, if we start rolling, I'm like jumping out of the side of the truck. So that was kind of the process between when I first heard about it and then seeing the truck early that morning.
The way it was set up, we had Declan's truck down on a ledge, and then there's this embankment up here. And Treat had the brilliant idea to put the two lightest and smallest trucks on the top to anchor down the big rig. So Luke and I had to back our trucks down and go up and try and clear snow, and then come back down, and then go back up, and then come back down. And eventually we got our trucks to the top, and they served as anchor points. So we ran straps from both of our trucks down to Declan's hitch, and poor Declan had a load on his hitch, but I'm sure he'll tell you about that.
My favorite part was definitely getting off the mountain. My role was to sit and wait for my truck to roll down the mountain. That was basically my role. I probably own one of the heavier trucks as a part of our group, and so vehicle-wise, my truck was buried into the snow that we dug out and used as the anchor point for the pulley system that we set up. But before we started pulling, I, with Austin and Quentin, were in charge of clearing out all the brush that was between us and Daniel's truck.
There's this lovely thing on campus. It has a bunch of tools and stuff like that you can rent. So I rented a bunch of tools like shovels and rakes and stuff like that, and just got, I guess, tools ready to go and just enough stuff for people to do things with.
By the time we got it to the top, we had it just teetering right there on the edge, and that was our most worried spot, because we kind of ran out of good winching spots, and it was just kind of, it had the back end just hanging over the back, just kind of teetering there, and we kind of just had to have her back off, put it in park, release the winch line, see if it would hold, and hope the truck would just stay there for a second to where we could get some stuff repositioned. And it did, which was really nice. We were all really worried. We were like, hey, this thing's going back down the hill, and oh well, or stays. And luckily it stayed, and we got it rehooked, and we pulled it right back up, and which was awesome. And then we just kind of drove it over the spot, and we cleaned up our spot.
Clear?
You're clear.
People could go back through on that road, because people are on Government Mountain all the time, snow wheeling and whatnot, and we didn't want to have to block it off and make it even more of a danger for somebody else to go over the side of the road. We made sure the truck was safe, and Daniel ended up driving all the way back to Walla Walla, which was crazy. We didn't think that was going to happen. It was just awesome just to see Daniel. Like, you could see him through the day, like, you just didn't know. Like, there were some people up there that were just like, no, this isn't going to happen. Like, there's no way. Like, and just as the day went, you could just see everybody's moods change. Like, you're like, yeah, we're actually doing this. Like, it's moving. Like, we're going to get this. And it was so cool to see that. Just total attitude shift. Like, all these guys come off-roading with us, and I think it really changed their perspective on it, and the fact that, like, we can do a lot more than we were expecting, like, that we used to, or even believed.
I've been at government a few times and like knew that areas of it were dangerous and like there was risk, but I didn't like, I guess, see the impacts of that until like this truck went down there. Even though I had known most of the guys that had come up, we still were able to like bond in like a different way than just like pure like socializing or like being together and listening to something, because we had to work together, kind of like talk through like things that we thought were a bad idea or a good idea, or like try to work through problems, and I feel like it brought us together even closer, even though like I knew most of the guys, as well as like this kid who rolled his like truck down a hill. The cost of like removing that and like things like that are like crazy. Like there's guys on YouTube like Diesel Dave or whatever that do rescues because people are just like gonna be like in such a financial hole to just get their vehicle out. And so what we were doing and like what Tree ended up leading out was like super beneficial to him. And so it was definitely a service and a huge service to him, and like being able to just get that thing out without much hassle other than just time. And so I think that there was definitely like service and also just a community part to both of it. So it was kind of like a best of both worlds a trip that we got to take instead of being at school. So.
I would say this is like almost more like what community should be. And I know it's not like realistic to like have people go out and like save a truck off a hill like every Tuesday or whatever. But like I barely just met Daniel, and it's like we're gonna go, I guess, pull his truck out now, right? Like I don't even know like any of these people, but we're all going and we're all like gonna do this, do this thing for a guy like I don't even know, but let's go do it because it needs to get done. He needs help, so yeah.
On a serious note, there were a lot of God moments like throughout this day, and the fact that he wasn't hurt is a miracle. The fact that there were farmers who drove by, because he's a good 20-30 miles out from town, and the fact that he landed on the one flat spot where there were trees right behind that little flat spot protecting him from falling even more. He landed facing up on his wheels, and only 2 wheels came off the beat.
Like, it was such a God thing that nothing broke, nothing went wrong, nothing snapped. We got him off the mountain. He drove out. He drove that truck down the mountain. Like, nothing went wrong. How is that possible,
It was a fun day, nothing I've ever done before, but it was a great experience, and I definitely would do it again. It's good stuff. Builds character.
Blue Mountains to me is like, it's where, I guess, community is built for me that's not a school event. Every other Friday we go up and do a bonfire up there somewhere. Just hang out, have a good time, meet new people.
They've been a really good escape, honestly. They've been something where I can disconnect from Walla Walla and have a separate place that's associated with just hanging out, having a good time, and making memories. So I feel like the Blue Mountains have been a really good distraction from the stress of school.
When we went up in the mountains and were helping someone out, that was community.
I think part of community, we should have times where we have opportunities to go and help the community. You can have a community, but you gotta actually interact with each other and come do something as a group. You can't just be there. And to me, that going and actually doing something together was really cool.